first game of yesterday every single game. So I don't expect that trend to be bucked. However, with one ban left from IG side, I could be eating my own words as we hit pick and ban straight away.
All right, here we go. 13-10 again, guys. Remember, everything's on the table. Yumi's not banned. Ah!
But there he is. So it should be fine. So theoretically, it should be fine. Just calm. We're all good. Unless Arn picks Ezreal. Then there might be a problem, because we've been seeing Ezreal come back in a little bit more. Like we mentioned, Triforce was buffed up, so there are some Ezreal players toying with that item, and then of course things like Conquer as well. You stack up a lot of extra AD. The damage can be quite absurd, but for now, IG hovering over the RE. We could see something very, very, 2v2 heavy from the get-go, but LGD did snap with that Felios first pick, and that's definitely something that we have seen a whole bunch, as I anticipate this Meteor will certainly be locked in by IG.
Another one of those 100%ers, right? Like Ari sits on that board too. We're hitting the trend from yesterday. Remember things like Jace, though, Jamada, I brought up, as Milio is just giving a bit of time for this team, it seems. Jace is left open, and that was such high priority in the ban phase yesterday. I wonder if we get it here before we get to the second phase itself.
Yeah, right. Jace plus jungler could be pretty good here. JinJiao, I imagine, would have a whole bunch of supports that he is willing to play into the bottom side. Annie as well, oh my goodness, still up and available. So that should almost certainly get snapped up, even ahead of the Jace. If I was LGD, I would even consider just locking in both, right? Having the flexibility of Annie being able to go mid plus support and Jace top plus mid. You could have a lot of flex going on, but they go towards the Nautilus. A very interesting choice here for LGD, just considering that typically it feels like Milio does pretty okay into a lot of the engaged supports, right? The Q, the knockback, slash stun, very powerful inside of the lane matchup itself. We'll see how LGD and how JinJiao and Envyy actually pilot that 2v2. For now, aren't toying with the idea potentially with the Twitch. I've seen loads of wacky combinations here of the Milio. The Rengar was left up, and Tianzhen is gonna lock it in.
I mean, I didn't want to mention it until we got to the point of hovering over the bad boy, but this is his OTP. Remember, I told you in LDL, this just banned out 90 to 95% of the game's health, probably all of them, if I wasn't so sure. But now we get to see it in his debut of LPL. We go to his one-trick pony. He can play a lot more, but this is where he excels at, Jamada. So walk me through, what the hell do you start banning to make sure that this Rengar, this kitty, stays down?
Oh, I mean, goodness me, I'm not even too sure, to be honest with you. If I'm LGD at this point, I think anything that can provide maybe ranged engage, right? Something like the Ornn takeaway. Even though YSKM potentially wouldn't necessarily lean on the tanks, right? I think you want those kind of things gone. Other die facilitate as well. Gwen, pretty good shout out at the same time. So I think anything that can kind of just enable Rengar to go in a little more freely at this point would definitely go the distance. But YSKM's champion pool is kind of the opposite of what that does. So I think LGD are maybe in a bit of a pinch here in terms of what they're looking to remove away. I think for IG, it's a little more simple, right? Anything that could go into the top and the jungle roles, the Gragas fits that bill perfectly. And at this point, I think they just remove away another jungler, or they're actually going towards this Fiora. So they don't want fearness on something that can, at the very least, sometimes match a lot of the bruiser champions that YSKM plays. So just looking for comfortability there.
Because Fearness is like that, right? You know, Renekton, Fiora, I feel like he has some bruises mixed in with a couple of carries up in the top side too. So that's what makes this matchup more interesting. Now that the Rengar's partner beside it, it heightens the pot just that little bit more. We have 3 top lane bans. Now the Jinx thrown in, because remember, IG don't have a bottom laner. Jamada, my biggest question is, do they look for AD here? Do they get that top laner nice and early? Because Arn was looking at the Twitch before with Emilio, but is that the best option?
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of picks up and available. That Kog'Maw hover as well, particularly scary. Kog'Maw with the W up and the campfire from this Milio gives him so much range, but you saw they were hovering between the Xayah. I think the Xayah obviously gives you a lot more safety into the engage potential of the Annie and the Nautilus, so Arn is just going to lean on that one, and it makes sense. The 2v2 will still be very, very strong. The DPS is going to be quite high, and of course Milio amps the damage of a lot of champions into the later stage, and of course once you hit that 2.5, 3 iron mark for that Xayah, you're going to be pumping out damage, as Graves is going to get locked in here for Meteor. This is a pick we were talking about earlier, just because some of the Lethality items getting changed means that Graves has a couple of interesting item choices that he can walk towards as well.
Remember that true grid as he stacks it up against Rengar. Things are going to get a little bit tougher as well, so I'm curious to watch that matchup play out. As today is even more interesting than yesterday. We don't have the Nico on board, but we have warmed ourselves up massively as LGD are going to round this out with a bit of engaged Jamada. all in here with double AD on the side. Now I'm wondering, how do IG match that warm hug on the side when they have a lot of all in themselves? What do we get in the top lane?
Yeah, I'm actually really curious about what YSKM's going to play towards here. Hovering over the Silas, and I mean, there's plenty of strong ultimates to steal away here, and he's going to do just that. So it's Silas top, yeah. Here into this Malphite, of course, I think it goes without saying, the lane matchup, pretty simple. Just don't grief, don't get poked out. Once you hit level 6, you're just going to have so much all-in potential from being able to steal away that Malphite ultimate. And then at that point as well, once you move towards the mid game, you should be looking sweet. But I think generally for IG, it's a little bit all over the place, but I'm digging what they're putting down. I think for LGD, it's a little more simple, right? You've got the front to back tools, you've got engage options. It's just about picking the fights and making sure that you're keeping your backline alive from this Rengar and the Ahri threat.
Okay, keeping the backline alive, I like that, especially when you don't have an enchanter strictly here for Envy's debut. Folks, this is what you wanted. You're seeing a mid-tier or middle of the pack game as my wall falls down apart behind me. If we didn't hear that, we don't have to worry about that because the wall stays up for these players. IG versus LGD is a mid-tier match because both these teams need to do better than last split. Both of them need to crush this split and get at least into playoffs, especially when you import players like Envyy, right? From playoff team, from LSB. When IG are bringing up legends of the LDL, an LDL domestic champion as well, and an MSI champion into the fold. They've got more domestic talent here, but will it be enough for IG? There's a lot of questions that need answering as we head into day 2 of the LPL, into IG versus LGD. The Rengar debut, we got Graves, we got Meteor again, we got a Silas top. I think we have everything we need to get underway for the banger that this game is gonna be.
Almost certainly, and I think with so much explosive and, you know, snap potential from one side and of LGD, and then from IG, so much burst damage maybe from the Rengar, the Silas. We are in for a bit of a gladiator battle, my friend. I think it could end up being a bit of a bloodbath today.
I hope so, Jamada, as we finally get in to Summoner's Rift. My screen's black. I don't know how you're going, man. But all I get
as well.
I'm getting Shadow crushing his hand on my screen instead. Okay, that's cool. The audience can see what's going on, but instead, we look at game 2 for some reason. That's okay. You guys aren't seeing it. You're probably like, dude, what in the Zaza is going on?
Yeah, I don't have feed on my feed right now. Hopefully we can get that fixed on our end. I'm pretty sure that the game is going on the stream, Jake, which is the, the weirdest part about it. Here we are.
We're fixed.
Okay.
All right, a bit of a production issue. And look, we're here. You guys didn't experience that. You probably think we're doing something wrong.
We're hearing the voices.
Yeah.
This is what it is.
Okay. All right. So, Jamada, run me through again. You said there's a lot of backline access here for IG that they have that they need to, I guess, complete. So it's about killing Envyy, right? Killing Meteor, these double AD carries that are going to scale out of their mind.
Yes, absolutely. And I think YSKM is going to be pretty critical to that because he's going to be the one that will be able to steal away the engage ultimates of Malphite plus the Nautilus. Because generally, without those, IG are a little bit stricken for, you know, tools, right? So long as LGD stay in formation, right? Envyy and Meteor stay behind the Malphite and the Nautilus, it might be a little bit tricky to consistently find access to those targets. So I think for IG, waiting till level 6 is definitely going to be crucial. If they can find opportunities to make plays happen early on, then certainly go for them. But I think when you're working with, you know, a Rengar that realistically wants thrill of the hunt, right? Wants the ultimate until to actually start to make plays on the map. And generally the lack of proactive CC on the bottom side, I think that IG will look to try and farm this one out for the first couple of minutes and then try and let LGD break apart some of these lanes, but just turtle for now.
And look, again, that'll be important, especially when you talk about what YSKM can do. Already in the matchup, fearness holding strong as you'd expect here from the early game Malphite. And, you know, seeing YSKM go top with Silas shows you exactly what this guy's about. Carry top lane, doesn't matter that we don't get the Jax, the Camille. We got something out of him that at that level 6 point, further to your point, will be massive. I'm kind of excited to see how they sync up or the approach they put to these lanes. Because Jamada, we talked a lot about IG being about YSKM, right? Cryine's a facilitator. Tianzhen's coming into a team where he has this dynamic as a Rengar, but they've got such explosive laners, as you can already see down in the bottom lane too, that, oh, great route, is something that Tianzhen can play towards, might have a bit of flexibility because of it as well.
Yeah, certainly, right? The roster moves make sense when you've got these strong side laners as Rengar in 1,731 days, 2018. Wow.
Clid, when Clid was on JDG, that was a lifetime ago, 5 years. Holy crap! That was before LPL 1 World.
I wasn't even in esports when Clid last played Rengar. That goes to show. But yeah, I think the roster moves for IG just make a whole bunch of sense, right? Whilst I think that Dove and Gideon in spring definitely provided their own, individual flair, it felt like to me that, especially in the early stages of the split, that YSKM wasn't always getting necessarily the support from the rest of the map that perhaps in 1v1s he would have liked. And Arn and Wink, sometimes yes, volatile, but I think because Dove and Gideon were often playing their own 2v2, it didn't always lead into side lane leads, which I think in, throughout a lot of this year has been the meta and has been key to a lot of successful teams. Speaking of side lane success, if LGD can put the Silas behind a little bit, it'll feel quite nice, but it seems like Meteor isn't going to be able to get this gank off.
Yeah, they need that flash, and then even then YSKM absconded ducked, plus Tianzhen is up towards the top side. Not able to pull off the gank, and nor does he show himself either as the control ward helps out, as JinJiao and Wink are just going to battle it out. It's the portal combat this early, as Wink is holding the wave and doing a pretty good job, but Envy's coming through. However, on a ward, won't be able to follow through. Wink is still going to be a brother, like everyone wished their support was.
Man.
The wave, it does crash, unfortunately, Jamada, but at least Arn doesn't miss a bit.
Yeah, it's just rough because I think LGD were trying to see maybe if Wink would overextend just a touch, but they're all on the ward, and now even Envy's base is going to be stopped. Ghost will be popped.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, Envyy delayed recalls there, Jamada. That is a win for IG's 2v2 that was already doing pretty well.
Yeah, and we should actually track what Tianzhen is going to look to do as well, because he's cleared his top side camps. Bottom side camps are respawning up, and this is a wave that can now stack. A reset coming out from Wink means that he can return to the river with wards. This could be an early dragon setup in around the 30 seconds, maybe to a minute's time, but LGD looking to try and take a little bit of proactive movement here with JinJiao getting the reset earlier than Wink. He's actually already here in the river looking for a play towards the mid lane onto Cryin.
Cryin has flash, has ulti available, but Haichao gets the stun. There's the flash. Red time, perfectly done. First blood to LGD for the split, and it was a beauty.
Yep. Easy as you like, and now LGD can actually take control of the river if they so want. Look towards an early dragon, or even stop this stacking wave from feeling as bad, right? Try and prevent maybe even a dive from occurring, as Tianzhen off his bottom side camps in the river right now, looking to just hover. It seems like this dragon is still going to be started up here by IG. I think with the mana of Haichao being so low and having to reset, this still looks like it'll be an IG dragon for little cost. We'll see. Oh, LGD, Meteor's just going to take a reset, so this will still be the dragon for IG despite the first blood going over to LGD.
Yeah, really nice. So again, the built-up bottom lane for IG gives them a lot of influence, and first dragon taken away when Jamada, you talked about IG kind of pulling tempo at level 6 and starting to run the map a bit. They are going to have themselves a little bit of extra tempo because of that too. Tianzhen getting close to 6. Bottom lane approaching that as well. And you can see YSKM and Cryin have now hit that point too. So let's see what happens towards this Herald, because Jamada, like we saw it at MSI, we've seen it throughout the LPL split. At Heralds, we fight. Like no one says no to that.
Absolutely not. YSKM's going to have to hold on to his ultimate. Once he sees that a scuffle is going to go on, then you steal it away, right? Don't let it time out. Don't let it be on cooldown for that 8-minute mark. We'll see, he will definitely hold on to that. But I agree. I think for IG as well, level 6 is coming in. So important. They need to try and set down a little bit of preemptive vision, right? Rengar ultimate, of course, can give you vision of champions nearby. So that can give you information if you're looking to start a play towards the river. But you always want to try and work with as much early information as possible. So take a look towards Cryin, take a look towards YSKM, see if they can get some lane shove in. And also on the bottom side, if Wink can also get an earlier roam up towards that Rift Herald than JinJiao.
So what is the methodology here for LGD then? Because we have ults up for them as well. You know, Envyy should be approaching 6-2. Not sure about that Nautilus, but YSKM, as he picks up the ulti with 15 seconds for Herald to spawn. I want to know, Jamada, what LGD have to do here with lanes getting shoved in and LGD kind of playing defensive.
Yeah, I think the problem is because they had 2 big side lane waves crash. If IG were looking to take this Herald on cooldown as it spawns up, then it would have been a bit of an issue, but it seems like Tianzhen needed a reset, had a lot of standing gold in his back pocket. It looked like a play was about to happen for LGD, so now this is maybe a window as the waves look to potentially bounce back. Specifically from the bottom side, I think top side up here, YSKM is likely to just maintain priority, right? You can see the trades are always going to look quite positive up here. I think for LGD, they're always likely going to be second to the punch, but when you've got the engage tools, it doesn't matter so much as long as you can keep Meteor, or if Envyy shows up to the fight alive, you're good. Just making the first punch happen, even if you're second to the move.
We just have to see, though, because, again, that hijack timer is getting close to running out. Half the cooldown used already as YSKM continues to push in the wave. You can see topside against fearness wants to get that full trade. He's holding on to that unstoppable force as Meteor is now in the bot lane. Drake line, max range somehow hits the cozy campfire. Not warm enough with the hugs either. Arn not holding the ulti until now onto Envyy. The pullback isn't there. He's already out of range. He held that trigger for a while, Jamada. He had to pop the ghost as well, which is a big win for LGD.
Yeah, quite surprised. I feel like if Arn just drops the ultimate sooner, maybe it just throws off LGD. He keeps his health bar a little bit more. I think the reset is likely still going to come out after this wave anyway, but with the play being made first by LGD and getting the wave in, they'll be able to reset first. They'll be able to make it to the top side of the map if they want this Herald. And I think also YSKM's ultimate timer should have just fizzled, right? He shouldn't have the Malphite ult anymore.
Yep.
And now this is a good window for LGD to actually contest. IG really wanted to try and take down this Herald in the first, minute, 2 minutes of its life. But I think now the fact that LGD had the time to go down towards the bottom side and make that play, and the fact that Cryin, I mean, he's maintained mid lane priority, but he's not been able to do anything with it because it seems like IG didn't really have their finger on the Herald button.
I think as well, LGD got to be rewarded or at least applauded for patient play. Just kind of pulling the right moment. Meteor has been pretty great at jungling this game so far and just being there where he needs to be. And now you can see Tianzhen's like, red, we're red buff. We're jungler. We're blood. So where are they? Not there. Wink spotted out. Tianzhen drops a ward. We're buff. We're camp. And Meteor's like, okay, I'll take the Herald. He'll clear the top side, and LGD continue to chill. Or do they?
Yeah, I mean, they saw him taking this Raptor camp, and pretty big collapse. I mean, he's got the empowered W. Okay.
Just a flash away. JinJiao has his own flash, but he won't follow up. At least what you can say about this, Jamada, is at least it might give Arn another turret plating, might deny some minions here with this pressure down bot.
Yeah. All minions will be lost here by Envyy, and like you mentioned, the plate solo as well goes over to Arn. A lot of the time the bottom side plates tend to be split, but Arn getting that 175 gold, so just enjoying a little bit further ahead. Gotta say, Tianzhen, pretty lucky to walk out that one of his life and only losing the flash.
Yeah.
But hey, he got the Raptor camp, right? That's a win in my book.
True. I mean, look, you got to take it where you can. As Tip is going to be launched out. Haichao just getting a good trade. Cryin not hitting many charms as we've seen so far. His debut on IG. He won't be able to push for that plate either. Meanwhile, Meteor's like, hey, let's get this Aphelios in prime position. And Mr. Jamada, that is plating for the taking to put Envyy back in a favorable position in this game. There's I'm going to pause because mid lane, meanwhile, Tianzhen just stopping Tippers in his track. But yep, there you go. Camera's back down where it should be, where Envyy has now picked up some plate gold of his own.
Yeah, all right. Envyy just making up for a little bit of that wave lost whilst that play was going on in the jungle. They will look towards the second dragon, and I think just given where the wave is on the bottom side, it's going to be a little bit tough. Tianzhen is here. We've figured the hunt, so he's going to have vision. Will he go for the 50-50 though?
Wants to leap, but onto who? He's interrupted! JinJiao massive, but the soccer ball's kicked us now. It's a wombo. fearness not able to get the 80 carry because IG have turned onto the back of the pit. Meteor next on the menu, boys. Flying through Tianzhen's ringer. Gets the stun, doesn't die! That might be why you have to ban it as his debut comes in clutch, but more so. IG's team fighting returns to what we remember.
Yeah, IG 4 kills. Sure, they lose the dragon. It was a great interrupt from JinJiao, but losing that many members and giving over gold, 2 kills over to YSKM. I think a kill went into the pocket. Like, great dredge line here to stop the leap. He had vision close enough. Cryin on the backside gets so much AoE. That Inferno moment was pretty big from the side of Envyy, but you can just see the AoE starts to come out. And again, the skirmishing power of Ahri, of Silas, it's just a little bit too much at this minute in time for LGD to deal with, and they just get run over by it. And I think other important thing to mention that we didn't bring up, Jake, is of course teleports. The Unleashed teleport meant that YSKM was here for this fight. You're going to see this a lot more. Top laners will be present for second dragons because it unlocks at 10 minutes now.
It's so much nicer. Screw the 14-minute mark, man. I mean, that was just rough. But all I can say, Jamada, is, YSKM, not just with the TP, with the fighters, he needs to trade up in this top lane. YSKM, you should know me. We talked so much about him last split, but in that last fight, you should kiss me because he pretty much won the fight for IG. And now 2-0, he's got Everfrost, he's picked up Mythic alongside his jungler Tianzhen, alongside Cryin. So it's double Everfrost with a Storm Razor first, of course, from not only 180 carry, but 2. We are getting those 1 items, but I'm talking about IG because they are the ones with a bit of a gold lead here at the 14-minute mark.
Gold lead, but you just have to imagine that their champions are a lot stronger at this 1 item mark.
Oh, still fighting for it. Okay, Smite does go down, but getting launched on. Everfrost used. Tianzhen heals it back up, though. Still launching out. Using Tip as a scapegoat as Cryin almost kills Haichao at the max range. Wick comes through with yet another cozy campfire, trying to build on some of the range, but it's just Tianzhen who's forcing LGD out. Now IG are starting to build up the pace a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, the 1 item spike of so many of these champions just enables their skirmishing ability so much more, right? Through the Hunt has been popped, full stacks as well for Tianzhen. He wants Envyy.
Here we go. Launching in onto Envyy, heals up with the Severin, but it's not going to be enough. Cryin gets a kill credit while under turret. 4 versus 1 ain't fair for the Nautilus. And IG hit him hard again. Bottom lane dead. Turret now dropping to first turret blood. And all of a sudden you look at the skill, the kill board, excuse me. It's a 4K gold lead at 14 minutes.
Yeah, this feels great for IG. And this is also the kind of point in the game where a Rengar can really start to tear apart the map when it starts to open up a little bit, right? When you get windows like that where you can just use your ultimate on a side lane uncontested just because of the way that you start to take over the map with the priority, it feels great off the back of that invade. This play comes in. Envyy does have flash, but I feel like more times than not, he's likely going to die. I think the Empowered Bowler actually missed from Tianzhen as well, but it doesn't matter because he just deals that much damage alongside Cryin to the Aphelios this early on, and JinJiao tries his best, but unfortunately in a 4v1 is never going to walk out of that one alive.
And look, now who's benefiting off it as well? It's a 2-0 Xayah with a bounty. It's an Ahri now from Cryin with a bounty. YSKM already picked up one before. There's a lot of big heads right now on Invictus Gaming in this game number 1. And we talked a lot about what LGD could do, right? We talked about that backline surviving Jamada, about just cruising out, waiting for the Graves, who's now also got Storm Razor, by the way, waiting for this Aphelios to hit those item power points as well. But with the way the game's going, it might be over in the next 10-15 if this speed continues, with Tianzhen starting to run the map, with LGD not finding any picks in the mystery brush like they threw out, or were trying to, with YSKM now starting to dominate the sideline as well. As maybe I spoke too soon. There's a depth charge onto the support wing, not surviving out. He brought the breath of life in, but it's over before you know it. YSKM flew in once again, gets his 3rd kill, but he's not dying. No one can kill him as Envyy flashes away from the charm. Beautiful in the backline, while Arn is free hitting, but not without a health bar disadvantage. Haichao almost dying, giving a reset. Golden is Cryin. IG under turret, just not caring. The route back in is the danger. Fearness flashes away from it as Envyy chasing up. A good route in the end to stop the follow-up. It's a bloody one. IG only win it with the skin of their teeth in the end. As what? Wait, what? Tianzhen, you crazy man! Flash away and flash it again! You should know me once more! The summer starts just like the spring. His name is going to be remembered yet again.
A martyr for the play, but it works out. 2 extra kills on top of the skirmish plus the tier 1. You'll take it if you're IG. The start of it was definitely a little bit sketchy because they lose Wink so early on. It's a great engage from JinJiao. Hex flash over the wall, too much CC and burst damage. The collateral damage from downtown as well really helped seal the deal. But as soon as that Malphite ultimate comes in from YSKM, locks up 2 members, sends one into stopwatch. Cryin also collapses with Tianzhen. It's too much damage in a front-to-back situation where the AD carries of LGD are just not online yet. They can't deal the damage, but this is where the overextension comes in, and IG starts to get punished.
All I can say about the end of this play, Jamada, is YSKM, bit of a psychopath. Tianzhen, let's be real.
Tianzhen as well, man.
He fits the team environment.
Oh yeah, he certainly does. I'm down for this combo already, and we're only about 16 or 17 minutes in. Off the back of the play, LGD will still get this Herald. So whilst this is not necessarily the most valuable in terms of being able to pick up the plates, if they can, make it to a side lane like this, get 2 charges, right? This feels okay if you trade it for a dragon at this stage in the game.
True, and gold might shrink a little bit as well. Despite that last play, despite it looking IG favored at least towards the end, you got to remember that gold isn't as favored towards Invictus Gaming as it might seem to you viewers at home. The bounties have also been taken off Jamada, big shutdowns going across the board. And let's just remember, as you said, with that turret going down, we're now under 4,000. Cryin's not able to get a trade through here. Mid is getting pushed out as well. So we are stabilizing a bit for LGD. And it's important to remember that we are approaching 2 items for this Graves, who's now got a Zeal as well. We're approaching 2 items with the BF sword in hand for Envyy too. We are getting to a point where these ADs are going to be strong and able to match some of the pressure that IG have been exerting.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, for the next minute, right, there's not going to be an objective on the map, so you could expect to see a little bit of slow down time here. The Baron will spawn up, but I don't really anticipate that either team is looking to, you know, burn that one down on spawn. And they will just see Meteor base on the back of that ward, but we'll be able to stop it entirely. So I think for IG now, this is where you just look to suffocate out the map. I think you've still got that tier 1 on the top side to look towards, so just hover over to that and you're going to immediately see, catch that mid lane, wave up high, rotate over to the side lane. Haichao's here to defend, but I have a feeling if he sticks around, Jake, he's not going to be here to defend it for very long.
But it isn't Annie. The stun has been used. Tibbers comes out, but no stun, just to add the pressure in as Meteor jumps in for the play too. Tibbers is going to meet the grave. Again, that bear will revive, ladies and gentlemen. There's no such thing as death here for Annie's favorite pet. But remember that for LGD, as they come up to this top side, mid getting pushed in, bot looks like might be slow pushing. I'm not too sure about that, Jamada, but I need to keep my eyes top side apparently because they are still threatening.
Yeah, and Tianzhen's popped the ultimate. That's a Nautilus ult stolen as well from YSKM. They're on the hunt. Malphite's behind everyone though. So is Envyy actually. Envy's isolated. They did see him from the vision, I think. Yeah.
Baron fight? Tianzhen's ulti? No.
Tianzhen's out of art.
It's LPL. We don't, dude. Baron spawns.
My bad. Yeah.
A big fight top. Baron taken. That is the progression.
Yeah. Every time Baron's on the map, it's like £1 scrap. Did you ever have that? Like in Australia, you guys in school like toss a. I don't know if you have like $1 coins or anything like that.
We do.
Toss them on the floor, everyone just fist fight for them.
We're not. We don't live in anarchy. I mean, do we have $1 coins?
But,
no, man. Australia didn't have the money to print them.
But point is that £1 coin or that $1 coin, Jake, that's the Baron for the LPL teams, right? And when you're like 10 or 11 and you barely get an allowance, that Baron means everything. You scrap that, that's what it's all about. For now though, IG, they're not gonna take the scrap at all. They're just gonna look for a couple of resets, and this will give LGD a window to just sneak in, get a little bit of vision down, and I mean, I don't want to say start up the Baron, but certainly with double AD carry, once they hit the 2 iron marks on both Meteor and Envyy, a burst down is definitely very, very viable.
Okay. Well, it's good to know. But just remember that Arn is actually ahead by almost a full item here. So 3 items are coming up red hot pretty quick. And remember, it was an Ardent rush here for Wink too. So that cozy campfire along range is also going to give him a nice little kick of attack speed too. Something to look forward to if we can watch Wink not get bursted out in the next fight like he was in the last. As they continue to push out mid, keep that priority going. YSKM and Cryin playing the sides lane right now, Jamada. While IG move towards Baron again, start trying to clear out and making sure that LGD have to face check into this big bad kitty.
Oh, Tianzhen alone.
Oh, he's the one that's face checking into them. Death charging flashes away. He goes into the ulti. They don't follow up now. He wants to turn it though. I don't think so. He'll jump to a ward, but that is the ulti down for a little bit of respite.
All right, not bad. Plus they get his flash, so it feels okay, right? You don't really overcommit anything for this. It's 2 ultimates which are on relatively low cooldown that Nautilus will only have like 20 seconds left by the time the next dragon spawns up, but maybe this gives them IG that is the opportunity to start up the Baron. Definitely considering it as a oh boy.
Oh, here we go. Cryin launches in. Good Everfrost and Charm follow up. The root not there. Kicking a soccer ball yet again is Envyy. Late to the party. Tianzhen, remember, no ulti. He wants to launch into that brush though so he can get the range on the JinJiao, but flying over. Fearness with a great ulti. However, an 80 carry already down, or rather a support of that. Everfrost and Roots in, and Fearness is slapped down as well. A 1 for 2, but IG don't have a jungler, so LGD know this Baron is safe for now.
There's that £1 scrap I was talking about. I mean, IG, they do trade 1 for 2, right? But the fact that they lose their jungler, like you call out, means that a Baron attempt is not really on the cards. They have to just wait for Tianzhen to spawn back up and then look towards the dragon, almost certainly. For LGD, though, I think in that kind of circumstance, they definitely could have lost a lot more, considering how IG were postured for that play. I'm just holding my breath there, because if Envyy steps up, no flash ghost. Does have the Gale Force. You can still imagine YSKM probably close to one-shots him.
He can kill Meteor for
I
sure.
think
Meteor's running into it.
Well.
And the lockdown, the ulti used. Does he care about the rest of them? Everfrost flies through. Maybe he does. The chain lash won't get the kill either. Kingslayer flash. It was in animation.
Oh my
but Meteor
God.
survives and he takes the shutdown for the ambitious play.
All right, well, YSKM kind of dies for next to nothing, I guess, but it looked cool, and he almost killed Meteor, so you take it. Blew his stopwatch as well, so honestly gives over more resources to LGD than perhaps they should be getting in that kind of situation. Third Dragon was picked up off screen. Yeah, I mean, it's fast, right? We said 2 items. That's kind of the rule of thumb when you have ADCs. They can burn it down quickly, but everyone is here from IG. They just need YSKM to spawn up, and he's only got about 14 seconds till he's back on the map.
So buying time, 5k, Tianzhen gonna pop the ulti as well. Here we go. Poking down LGD, Dredgeline just out of range as Arn already playing amazing with reaction time. Tip in the back of Tianzhen, not getting in, it's taken by a Nautilus. Tianzhen survives for now, jumping back in, but look at Meteor in the back end with Envyy, the 80 carries are untouched, and there's Graves. Better have a cigar, and he's about to flushes, and in line, but Arn survives using the rage. Oh my god! Milio Sire and this fiery fox live to tell the tale.
That was so nasty from Cryin, On, and Wink in a 3v4 effectively. As Tianzhen goes in, he doesn't quite get the 50-50, but in the back of the pit, it was the 80 carries of LGD just opening up. But eventually, just the fact that they had the Cozy Campfire, the Ardent as well, you called it out earlier, but the Rush, it's so much more powerful on this patch because it has 10 extra on-hit damage on the completion. Starts off Cryin, moving forward, the dredge line as well disconnects onto Ardent, and this fight looks so different from the get-go. Teleport comes in on the backside, the pit, unfortunately, the Baron goes over, not to either jungler, but to JinJiao, and then it's just complete carnage and mayhem, but you can just see on Cryin able to hit everything as LGD come outside of the pit, and once the Cozy Campfire comes back down, the healing, the on-hit, the flash charm is just excellent from Cryin. It's so well played to dance in and out of all of this damage, setting up for Arn to just kill everyone else on the team.
And let me just say that Arn's reaction time to the Malphite ult, that wasn't the first time. Unstoppable force used. He ults immediately. That guy, honestly, I'm not even sure we should check his fingers, because that is inhuman in reaction time. That is just some good sense. And Arn again showing us why we were so excited for his last split. He's not new to the LPL, but he's acting like he's a force to be reckoned with. As now with the charm over the wall again, Cryin just setting up the pit. YSKM jumps in, he's got the unstoppable force, but has he gone too far? I think so. I think YSKM is getting a bit silency.
Yeah, he's having a happy game, Jake. He's having a happy game. He's just enjoying himself. He goes in. It's not the best, but I think he held on to the ult, so he can make it back out to the map. Oh my god!
Oh my god, just do it again. Who's really crying? As the Graves ulti comes through, Meteor jumps back in. Great Gale Force in, gets yet another shutdown. Remember, this Graves, who I was watching last fight, he does a lot of damage, and with 3 items with more gold in his pocket, I think we're going to have to start looking at how LGD defend this, Jamada, because still, it's only 4,000 in the lead for them. Just depends on this next dragon, I guess.
Yeah, next dragon going to be really important. The Ocean Soul, I think, will definitely put IG in a position where, I always talk about Ocean Soul when it comes to squishier compositions like this, where it's like, if you don't 100-0 a champion, it's about that last tick, right? That immediate burst of 200, 300 HP. Starts off with this bowler here from Tianzhen, really, really well played. Sets up for everything that follows. So much burst damage follows through onto Arn. Is it just Gale Force? Smite and
what is Gale Force?
Tower shot? No way. No.
No. Dude, it is true.
No, it's not just Gale Force. Don't. I'm looking at the replay again.
You said
it was a tower shot as well. It was a tower shot as well. Okay. It was a tower shot as well. But you had me for a second because I have so much PTSD from Gale Force and the damage it can do sometimes. But yeah,
not the only
IG.
One with AD on at the moment.
God, it's not great. It's not great. But 30 seconds on this dragon, IG can and almost certainly will look to play towards that soul. LGD. I think, like you mentioned, because Meteor's in such a good spot, and they also still have a 3-item Aphelios, this isn't something that they will just give up for free by any means, but IG know, because the pressure is on LGD to go and, contest this dragon, they can play around with the other waves, right? They can look to actually take from the base. Even if LGD pick up this one dragon, it doesn't mean too much. We'll see what the decision is, because they're starting to just kind of wean off towards this dragon now.
That new Scrying Ward, given a bit of information as well. They know LGD are all but here. fearness has the teleport to come in with the ulti available, but hasn't pulled the trigger just yet as Haichao's angle could be huge. Watch it onto Arn, onto Cryin, and be carrying the fight. They got JinJiao, and Frost is good, but here's Haichao. Stun is down as well, onto Wink, but he hasn't finished the kill. Meanwhile, JinJiao getting tackled down by Cryin. That gives the reset, while in the back line, a bit too far for YSKM, means Envyy gets a kill as well. IG get themselves back onto the Dragon, and just like that, Ocean Soul achieved. With LGD coming so close, yet feeling so far.
Yeah, and Cryin again dealing so much damage in that team fight, just by a margin a little bit more than Arn. I think on the backside, while she was covering the Haichao flank, it was also Tianzhen. The Ocean Rift helping him out so much. Having that brush on the outside of the Dragon, he assassinated Meteor amongst the chaos and then also got on top of Envyy towards the end of the fight. Couldn't quite finish him off. Really, really well played from both sides, right? Haichao on the one flank, Tianzhen on the other. But it's IG's flank, which is a little more potent by the end of it. You can see Meteor just removed from the equation pretty much. And at that point, it feels like there's no way that LGD are ever going to get to the Dragon. You can see defended very well, Envyy by his top lane, but IG scrapping and winning out on the rest of the fight.
Well, Envyy does have 3 items worth mentioning that you can see the damage apparent in that last fight, but we need to talk a little bit more about Cryin, who has kind of taken over. YSKM was the one who was a bit more psychotic earlier on. Now it's Cryin with a Rabadon's death cap. I thought it was going to be like a vegan build, Jamada, but we have added about 2 kilograms of beef into the mix with Dumbledore's hat. And I have to say, you know, he's doing a lot of work here, now a lot of damage. Cryin has been the one to watch in some of these fights. Look at him now. He's waiting for fearness. The angle big onto Tianzhen. Who do they jump on? Aerofrost as well. Bowler strike doesn't connect. As IG looking for priority with Baron spawning yet again.
Yeah, Baron spawning. And you know, now both these teams are going to scrap over it. YSKM's on the bottom side of the map right now. He's going for a reset. I think he's got his Zhonya's finished up. That's going to be huge because now he's going to have the stasis. Baron's being started up by LGD. It will be bursted down quite quickly, so IG have to make a decision quite fast.
Watch Tianzhen. It's that thrill of the hunt yet again. Tianzhen waiting to jump in into Baron. Doesn't get the steal though, but that's a 3-man knockup from YSKM. It's huge as Cryin. Straight to the back again. He knows where the party is. Arn will join him. A couple of pints are going to be sunk down after this game 1 because it is an absolute masterclass from IG's team fighting.
Man, IG have been on the ball, but again, it's just about Cryin so many times. Again and again, he's going to just find the backline for free. He's been crazy. He's been popping off, and I mean, has something to say about his previous RNG split. Clearly very angry and opening out his debut on this IG lineup with an absolute banger.
We have been waiting for a full year now. He didn't play it all in spring, but his return, his debut back, and Cryin, as you said, has got so much to tell us. IG with an explosive game number 1. We got the OTP on his Rengar. We got Cryin returning. We got everything you want out of this.